Hello everyone, welcome in to another video. So today I wanted to talk about this article on Warhammer Community with the Meta Watch. The Harlequins performance stole the show at Adepticon. So this has to do with the tournament that was at Adepticon, and it's kind of a weird spot to be in, I think, with Warhammer 40,000, where like Adepticon was set up as this huge thing. It was like, I think, the first like really large tournament that was held since like COVID lockdowns have been kind of pushed back. I know there was a tournament in England of 80 pros, and the armies were divided up. Essentially, of the 18 different 40k armies, only three were brought. It was Custodes, Harlequins, and then a third, I think it was Genestealer Cultists, were 20% of the armies. But at the time, Harlequins were 30%, and then the Custodes were 50. And the competitive scene kind of is a trickle down effect of the armies that got brought there. You kind of see what the top things are, and people will retool some of their armies to include those units because they show you their lists. They'll review them, and then they have this meta watch thing, which usually is something that's really interesting, where they show all the various armies. But when everyone's playing one army, it's kind of redundant. And I just want to talk about this article because it's been spun in this super positive, great thing for the game, when I think it's a horribly negative thing. And it's just putting the game in a really weird place. And I always try to keep it positive on the channel. I think that there's enough kind of negativity around miniature models in general, but it just was weird with this article where it's, again, presented as this super amazing thing that's happened, where it's not that at all, I don't think. So we start off with Metawatch, and again, you've got all these very happy Harlequins who are driving this Void Weaver. So the dust has settled on the latest massive Warhammer 40,000 tournament, which took place at Adepticon at the end of March, and it's fair to say that the Harlequins walked it, and they ran, capered, pirouetted, and triple axled for good measure. So the Tricky Jesters managed an unusually high win rate at their first tournament since the release of the new Codex Eldari. We want to examine why this happened, the steps you can take to weather the Motley Storm, and touch on what comes next for Harlequins. Again, the Codex just came out. When you have to retcon a Codex that just came out, you made a bad Codex, right? You've not done a good job leveling the army out. You have made the new unit so powerful because, again, you want to sell the new army, but this time it's so bad that nothing else can possibly win. You've done a bad job. So it's crazy to me where it's being like, they're so powerful, it's great. No, it's terrible. So for 256 players battled through 8 rounds in a 2-day marathon of competitive match play. After competing in 4 rounds on Thursday, they were cut to the top 16 for 4 final rounds on Friday. Okay. In the end, though, every battle was hard fought. There could only be one winner, Zach Point, piloting his Eldar Harlequins. Okay, that's fine. If you were watching the rounds unfold in real time, you may have noticed a slight theme. Zach's opponents in both the semifinals and finals, John Lennon and Matt Robertson, respectively, also played Harlequins, both with strikingly similar lists. What's the point? What's the point in playing this game if anyone who takes this list beats you? It's so silly. I just don't get it. In fact, the Harlequin lists were dominant throughout, but we don't expect this to last long, as the Warhammer Studio is already hard at work at key balance changes. The Codex just came out. You shouldn't do that. If you've got a book that you just bought and within 2 weeks the point values are wrong, and you're like, I usually include a sheet at the back that I'll write stuff out, or if the Codex is super old and I know I'm not going to save it, it's not a limited edition or anything, I'll just tape down the new points values in the book. But again, that's usually much later when they do the full points change. Maybe I'll do that, but this is wild that this is happening so fast. So Zach's points Harlequins. So I believe that their lists were all exactly the same, and I'm very interested to see the breakdown, where I want to see the total percentage of different armies adhere at the Adepticon tournament. Usually, like, someone will get a hold of it, and I'm going to try and do some digging and see if I can find it myself, but I do really want to see that breakdown. So it's the Troop Master, a Shadow Seer. You've got a bunch of Harlequin troops. They've got various loadouts, 4 Star Weavers, 3 sets of 3 Void Weavers, and a Solitaire, and a Death Jester. So as far as I know, all the lists were exactly the same that ended up in the finals. So we have Tears of a Clown. Harlequins have only just been released as part of the versatile Codex Eldari. Again, spinning it that the Codex has so many options, which is true. It's cool that they put all the things together in the Codex. All three players ran lists extremely similar to this one, but what makes it so powerful? Fast-moving, hard-hitting vehicles are the secret Star Weavers and Void Weavers are some of the fastest, most potent shooters in the game, with the prismatic cannon on the latter in position of a particular versatile dual profile. Okay, so the cannon can be fired at focus lance or dispersed pulse. So again, you've got an anti-tank and an anti-troop. This is consistent with a lot of different close combat weapons and guns now, where if you're facing a horde army, you have an option, and if you're facing vehicles, tanks kind of thing, you have a profile for that as well. Like, that's fine. So coupled with 2 improved shuriken cannons mounted on each gunboat, the Grav riding servants of Sagarak bring firepower that can take down any type of target, from gibbering hordes and elite infantry to armored vehicles and heroes. The fusion pistols and Harlequin weapons on the troops give them a flexible close range Sting 2. Again, the descriptions sound great, and that's what the Harlequins are supposed to be. They're supposed to be very flexible troops. Let's not forget their defensive capabilities, though. They don't have the meatiest stats. Harlequins are incredibly hard to hit. Your entire army boasts invulnerable saves, easy access to negative hit modifiers, multiple ways to shut down your opponent's rerolls. Mirage launchers, for instance, prevent them on shots to hit Star Weavers and Void Weavers. Again, when the fluff and the rules match in with the lore, that's good. Like, some of these things actually, like that idea that you can't reroll to hit against these vehicles because they're, Harlequin vehicles. They're very difficult to hit. I like that, right? So if we scroll down here, so we are merely players. So this goes into the thing where this is not what should be. Like, this isn't what this article should be about, okay? So Harlequins are undeniably dominant in competitive play, but there are a few ways to give yourselves a fighting chance against this posse of insane clowns. That 4+ invulnerable save makes every model a tough nut to crack, so instead of putting all your points into a few powerful shots, take more medium range weapons with a high volume of fire, okay? So, like, I appreciate the tips and tricks here, but as someone who's been playing for so long, I understand that. I think that you should be in charge of making balanced rules. It shouldn't be on me to like have this broken down and be like, well, the only way to beat them is this way. It's like, no, it should, be close. The game, I have the most fun playing Warhammer 40,000 or any game when the games aren't blowouts, right? It's going to happen. Sometimes people roll badly. Sometimes you roll really good. I roll a lot of 6s. I'm kind of known for that. It's pretty funny. But again, if that's the way it just plays out, that's the way it plays out. It shouldn't be that you've taken this army, in this case, you've taken this Harlequin list, you have won the game. There's no point in playing. And when you're having people play each other these tournaments where it's like, hello, I brought this list. Oh, hello, I brought the exact same list. What's the point? Like, sometimes it's obviously going to happen in such a large grouping, but when you get down to the finals, it's like, hey, everybody is the exact same list as Harlequins. Could you imagine being there and seeing these people set up and being like, they all have the same thing? Like, it's just so crazy to me that that's what it ended up being. And I think that that's why it's been hopped on so quickly, because you've had all of the same armies winning. It's crazy. So again, they go through some stuff here about different ways to beat the Harlequins. And if you wanted to go through that, you can. But here we get into the last part that I actually wanted to talk about. So what's next for our favorite pantomime killers? Rest assured that the Warhammer studio is aware of this particular comedy is at present slightly too divine. Several senior members of the Warhammer 40,000 team were at Adepticon to watch things unfold. And the next balanced data slate is coming with approximate fixes next week. So it's already next week they're going to fix this because it's so bad. So you can therefore expect imminent tweaks and changes to the Harlequins in particular. They'll remain an awesome faction, but other factions will find them more fun to play against. And Eldari players will see them support a wider variety of army lists in competitive settings. That's not all you'll find in the balanced data slate. Stay tuned to the Warhammer Community website for more news on that soon. In the meantime, we believe crafty players can come up with creative solutions to our little clown infestation. I shouldn't have to do that. It's not on me to find insane workarounds and try and create crazy, insane, overpowered lists to beat this one list, because that's obviously what people are going to play if you're playing Harlequins. I want to have a good time and have fun. And again, sometimes you can play these games where it's kind of like knights versus knights. You can have these giant fights, but It's just, I don't know what to say about this, honestly, because it's so strange to me that this is being spun in this really good, great thing that it's like, hey, this tournament happened and the only good army was one army, but there's 18 armies, but it's all good because we're going to drastically change the codex we just released. Like, if you bought this codex, and again, a lot of competitive players just buy the most competitive army and will then immediately sell it once it's not good. Like on eBay in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, there's going to be so many Harlequins to purchase. It's going to be crazy, Kijiji, everything. But that's what they do. They just move to the most competitive list they can play possible to win. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. I just want it to be like fair. I want everyone to have a chance and for it to be like more of a level playing field. I feel like there's a couple other things that are at a really strange place with Warhammer 40,000 now. I know a lot of people are now reverting to playing older editions of the book because a lot of people say it's become so bloated, and it really kind of does feel that way. But again, there's some new codexes. Like, I still have yet to play some new games with the newer codexes, so I'm going to give it a go for myself before I make my final decision on what I think of 9th edition with the new codexes. But again, let me know in the comments. Have you been playing? Are you finding that the game's really out of whack? Does this affect you at all? And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out so much. And stay tuned for more videos.